everybody. Welcome to another episode of Trades Unfiltered. I'm Ethan Tripodi, and today we are joined by Jojo the HVAC man. I love that nickname. We'll be talking about the importance of technical training for your team. He communicates these complex subjects simply, but also makes it fun at the same time, as you can see by his shirt, his colorful shirt. So, Joe, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here. This is a lot of fun.
Glad to have
which
you,
I
man.
enjoy doing.
Well, so tell me at the moment for you, and give the audience an idea, what is your biggest focus at the moment? There's all sorts of different categories kind of HVAC technical trainers could fall into. So what do you spend most of your time doing at the moment?
That's a great question. So my number one, I love all principles of HVAC, electrical, refrigerant, air. But my love is airflow. And because it's the weakest of all principles that people understand, even the instructors don't know really how to teach it. Some do, but a lot of us are just lost. So I've really gravitated to that. I've had a great success with it. I've done a lot of duct design changes, helping people just get out of bad situations and give a customer everything they was hoping they would get to begin with. So it's been a great love. So a lot of airflow training. And then of course, recently a bunch of A2L training for the new refrigerants.
Okay. And what does that look like for you? Is this in companies? Because I know you also travel and do events. What opportunities are you doing that in?
Yeah. So as far as the A2L refrigerant, it's been, across the board. We've been doing it I've been hired by organizations to travel from West Coast to East Coast, teaching A2L refrigerants. And it's been to mainly technicians, how they handle it, and also to help them, get over a lot of the rumors that are wrong, of being afraid of it, because their customers are going to be wanting to know about it. And if they don't know about it, they can't help reassure the customers that everything's fine, basically.
Sure.
So that's been a great one to do. And then the other one, airflow. Airflow I teach into going into contractors' businesses, teaching them and doing online webinars about it. And I'm going to events to teach it as well.
Well, that's important because for everyone watching, we were talking just beforehand, and Joe, you're probably actually one of the more unique guests, because I've had on mainly business owners of heating and cooling companies, or kind of just made industry leaders of another sort that lean more on the like sales side, or on the kind of the business side. But we were talking before actually just how important this technical side is for businesses. And so we'll definitely be getting into that, guys, just as it relates to hiring, as it relates to saving thousands of dollars, as it makes to making thousands of dollars. So we'll get into that. But I do want to kind of get a bit more background on you, Joey. Why an airflow heating and cooling trainer? Not that was the plan originally, but why did you choose this? Did you fall into it? Or?
Well, yeah, back when I was 3, I jumped off the roof of the house and just loved the feel of the air in my face before I hit the ground. And at that point, just air has been always, or I could tell you that people say I'm a true airhead. But I'll tell you how it happened.
Really. You must have had this question. People asked you this question before, because you've got like all the jokes lined up.
Actually, I've never had anybody ask me what led me to love airflow. Okay. I've never had that. I tell people, so no, really, here's how it works. I was came out of the Navy, submarines, and got into the air conditioner refrigeration business right at the change of 22 to 410A, and it was just helter skelter. What a mess. But, got it all figured out, and I was a technician installer. Then I became a company owner, and then ran that. And then I became a technical rep for Carrier. So we just went through about 20 years of my life at that point. And so I get in to be with Carrier, and, as a technical rep trainer. And as a tech rep, you help people over the phone, troubleshooting all the time, but then you get called out to jobs, right? Well, one of the things I had learned when I ran my business is I went through a class early in my career that just changed my whole way of looking at things. It was called a manual J, DTNS. So J was a load calculation, but the manual D stood for duct, and it was the manual, the standard for duct design. Well, all my little career at that point was just put the ducts together and get the air coming out, and that's all that matters, you know. But of course, a plumber doesn't run a pipe down under your house in a box and then just willy nilly pipes everywhere. You know, there's a structure, there's a design. So I got into that. Well, fast forward, I did a whole bunch of duct chair outs in my company, a lot, because I really believed in true duct design. Well, then we get up to being a tech rep. I started going on these problem jobs. Well, guess what? 85, 90% of it was airflow issues, poor duct design. So I started getting into duct design where all the other tech reps were still just on the equipment, and they wouldn't get outside the equipment because the manufacturer didn't make the ductwork. I was like, that's the heart. You know, the equipment's the heart, but the ductwork is the lungs, and they're killing our equipment and blaming us, but it's airflow, and the guys don't understand how to do it right. So I launched a statewide training program on airflow do's and don'ts, and I've been doing it ever since. It's been awesome, and it has saved companies tens of thousands of dollars on callbacks alone, much less getting a better reputation and get more work out of it. And, you know, not that you go for this, but it will produce a higher ticket because they're getting ductwork along with their system. And people will pay when they see the value of it. And once you teach people, it changes everything. Not to mention, it fixes a whole bunch of problems in installs that they didn't know they had due to airflow. They just thought it was something else.
Sure, right. And that would really, and
Now
then
you know
that
my passion.
impacts, yeah, 25 years later, suddenly a passion for airflow.
But yeah,
Yeah, okay.
and
So look,
I've been on that road for a while now. So, yeah.
yeah, okay. Well, so, I mean, that's a long time to be in the industry. And so have those concepts like change, like how quickly do they change, or are they pretty
It's a
long
great
term,
question.
like
Great
long term
question.
things? Because you're going to have
Right.
business owners entertaining now. Okay, we'll talk more about it, but maybe I need training. Maybe I need to get my team training. But like, do I need to bring you in every 6 months because there's a new, air moves differently in these systems, or
Right.
yeah?
That's great. So, well, so now at this point, I've been in this industry for almost 40 years. And so the, the dynamics of airflow haven't changed since God made the earth. All right. You know, the physics haven't changed, the airflow dynamics, none of that's changed. All right. But what hasn't changed as well is people understanding duct design. You know, that's not changed either. And so, uh, the training has to break a lot of, rule of thumb mentalities that has just got
What was that
ingrained.
word? Sorry, what mentalities?
Rule of thumb.
Rule
So,
of
which
thumb.
means that
Yeah.
quick, you know, just, it works like this. Why? I don't know, but just do that and this should work, you know, and then that becomes the standard where we need to back up and see that we need to break that mold. So the training is never enough. To explain airflow duct design, because they can't see it, it's so hard. They can read electricity with the meter. They can see water physically, you know, refrigerant. They got pressures, they got gauges, they got temperature probe, but they don't really see and understand how air has to be routed and designed through ductwork. It doesn't see it, and how the fan motor comes into play and stuff. So it's very rewarding too, but they really need it way more than they think. Way more than they think.
When you
It
say
would solve
rewarding,
so many
what do you
problems.
mean? What do you mean by you said it's really
Well,
rewarding?
it's rewarding to train and to teach it, because you just start seeing light bulbs go off and people fixing issues that have been a thorn in their side forever, costing them money after money, going back. Manufacturers are losing money because they're eating warranties, and then contractors are losing money because they're doing it on their own dime and not sure what's going on. And then they're losing customers. And when you lose a customer, that's $30,000-$40,000 on a residential layout, because the life of that customer is not only their work they
Yeah,
give you,
the
but
short
all the
term work.
referral, you
Yeah,
know. And
yeah.
so it's astounding what just a rudimentary understanding of duct design. And I'm not trying to teach engineering level. We're just talking about practical boots on the ground. What do I do to get this system running right? That kind of
Mm-hmm.
training, and it'll change their life. Now, once you get a few guys that
who
really buy
understand it,
into it.
they can, yeah,
Yeah. And then they can teach others, and I meet those zealots. I'll meet a fellow zealot when it comes to that. And they are just awesome. I got a guy that calls me like every
another,
other week,
that's right,
he
another
sends me
tech that,
pictures of his, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, just another tech that jumped off the roof when he was 3 years old and had the wind.
Exactly.
Those ones.
Exactly. That's
Um,
exactly right. Exactly
yeah,
right.
well, and of course, there's always new techs coming in, like you said. So people are retiring, new people are being trained, and a lot of the time, people, at least to some extent, are kind of doing. They're just trying to get by in terms of um, training and getting a working system up and running. So they say, all right, all the
Mm-hmm.
numbers check out. They can show the customer that it's working. But yeah, the fact that there's always, if people are wanting to grow, that means they need to have some sort of training in place to make sure that their standard of kind of like deliverables, their standard of fulfillment work done
Mm-hmm.
is kind of meeting a standard, like you said, to keep those customers. Um, so what are, I mean, I'll ask you this quickly about the work beforehand, before getting into the specifics on business, but um, you said it was rewarding to kind of teach this stuff, but beyond just paying the bills, is like, what would you say is the most important part of this work to you? Like all the
You know,
training.
I'm always, just from, I've always been I like to help people. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
the one that always wanted to be in the front and be the leader. I mean, I've led companies and everything else, but I've always led in a corporate type setup, corporation is what I mean, where everybody works together. I'm a group leader, not a single, gotta, everybody just follow
Yeah.
me and do what I say. And, so, and so like, when I was in the Navy, um, I would always run in the very end and bring the guy up who was always struggling, because I was struggling too. And together we could make it. And so was a reward to me that we both finished across the line.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't trying to be the first guy. I just wanted to be with the guys. And so the reward for me is to be able to take that frustration off of somebody, because as technicians, we want to fix it, and we got to fix it head on. We want to fix it, and and we can't. And we're just like, sometimes we get frustrated. We're afraid to tell somebody we don't know what we're looking at. We don't understand
Mm-hmm.
it. And we're afraid to ask the boss for help because we're afraid the boss will fire us. Um, but let me tell you this. I've worked as a tech rep for a total of 15 years between carried and trained together. The number one complaint from every technician, and I worked with thousands of technicians on the field away from their boss. It was just me and them on the job. And they would tell me the most frustrating thing about their job, and the reason they left the other one, because they promised them they would train them. I'm not making this up. They promised they would train them, and they didn't. And they send them out on these equipment they don't understand. They send them jobs they don't understand. And they ask for help and training, and they promise to give it to them, and they don't. And so they leave because
Mm-hmm.
they feel they're ashamed, they're frustrated, and they
And you,
they
you
they
feel
don't
like you're
feel accomplished.
pestering. Yeah, you feel like you're
Exactly.
pestering and
Exactly.
you're
And
highlighting, I need something from you and I lack something. Like, it's just not a,
oh
a
man,
comfortable position to put people in.
and I'll give you an opposite example. I have companies now that schedule me uh, 3 times in the spring and 3 times in the fall. At the beginning of the year, boom, we get the whole thing out, and we don't have to pick subjects. We just pick blocks. But they have committed to their technicians and even office personnel. I'll teach office personnel HVAC language so that they can relate to the techs and vice versa. And there's not this fight between dispatchers and techs, which there always is. So I do a lot of that in-house training as well. But the ones that take the time not only to pay me, but they pay their technicians to sit there with me
To
or their
learn.
office personnel. And I'll remind them, I say, guys, you realize this company in this room right now is spending a whole lot of money for you. And all of a sudden, the appreciation
It creates a different environment.
now they like their company. Now they appreciate their company and they want to please their company and follow the philosophy and make it grow because it's making them grow. It's an amazing investment because when you lose one employee and now you got to turn around and rehire and retrain and reestablish, costs way more money than giving them good training so they'll stay. It's a
Mm-hmm.
win-win every time. And
That's
all
right.
those technicians tell me how much they appreciate it. And the more we meet together, just the stronger that bond is to the loyalty of their company.
Right. I mean, if you're a guy that loves the look on people's face when they suddenly get something, it sounds like you've found kind of found like your little niche in terms of like a big problem that most like me don't understand. And it's one of those. It's a subtle problem because you only see it in the long term. You don't see it unless you have the understanding. You actually don't see that problem in the present moment when you're replacing an AC.
Right. Right.
Um, Probably there's two biggest things that I've heard business owners talk about that's important to them in their company and how they just in terms of growth. And often it's actually not bringing up marketing necessarily or sales. They'll bring up the culture of the business, the culture of their employees, and then they'll bring up hiring. So there's kind of there's a connection there. But hiring in terms of people that are going to do good work and fit the culture, and then a culture that's actually going to be proud when they're out there driving the trucks, be proud when they're standing in the homes, even helping out one another. And so so what you're talking about, where the company is investing actively into their techs, really kills both of those birds with two stones. Kills both those birds with one stone.
That's right. That's right.
That's what I'm going to say. Because you're actually not only improving those you've hired, but you're creating a different culture where they actually want to give more back to the company because you've given to
Absolutely.
them.
It's a very, very positive improvement. The whole feel is better because everybody feels when your employees feel like they're valued more than just getting a paycheck,
Mm-hmm.
it changes the whole way they deal with problems, how more patient they are when things do go awry in the business. It just, the tension level comes way down.
Right. You
It's awesome.
actually, you lift them up and they feel good because you're investing in them, but then you also take away the bad experiences of them being out in the field and having no idea what to do.
That's right.
And the bad experience
That's
of
right.
needing to kind of ask so many times for help on the same thing. So what do you say then to business owners? And maybe you can give a couple of examples of like people you've met and the way they've responded to this sort of thing. What do you say to business owners that are preoccupied with other aspects in the business? So they're preoccupied with sales or marketing or brand, like whatever it is, and they just think that this technical side, or even they're preoccupied with hiring, but the technical side of like, so what do you say to that business owner, or what examples do you have of people?
That's a great question. And it's been a struggle always. Even when I was with Carrier and Train, and they would have a whole host of, contractors that were dealers. Part of their package was training. And we'd line up all this training and everything all the way across the state, and they couldn't get them into the seats. They couldn't get them,
They
and yet
wouldn't
they
even,
kept
they wouldn't come.
complaining. They wouldn't come, and it was already paid for. And they would complain that they can't keep good technicians. They can't hire good technicians. And, it just problems after problems. And we're like, well, but we want to help you. They didn't see the value of it. So here's what I'm trying to get across. When I had a company and had two companies, I learned a lot. And then as I became a tech rep, even more so, that to create a ledger of a customer, and that customer is named Mr. Callback. Okay. Mr. Callback. All right. And so every time you had to send out a technician that he couldn't bill the customer, but you had to pay that technician to go back out. So now you're paying him to do something that he's not going to generate any income. So he goes out and to that customer, as a callback. And let's say he says, oh man, it wasn't a board. It was a failed, relay, or it was a short in the wire, or, I changed that fuse twice. And well, now we found out, no, there really is something we got to replace. So he didn't take his time. This time he takes his time and he finds a problem. All right. Well, you would write up an invoice to Mr. Callback exactly the way if that customer did have to pay for that call. So now you got a value on that callback, just a single point of reference. Now it doesn't count into the fact that now you paid this technician twice. All right. And it doesn't count the fact that the missed opportunity of another call he could have been on getting revenue on, which could have turned into sale of a whole new piece of equipment. It could have turned into more contracts. Who knows, right? All right. So that's all out of the picture. So that one ticket like quadruples or more in
And also
value.
the missed opportunity with that customer could have been referring instead of calling you back
Thank
to
you.
fix stuff.
Thank you. And now you're losing the confidence of that customer. So Mr. Callback started getting growing in the QuickBooks ledger. All right. As a very expensive customer. Right. And now you can go back every quarter and say, well, I've already spent $6,000 on School of Hard Knocks training that ain't working so well. I've been paying for training, just not good training. All right. Now you can look and see, well, if I'd invested that in quality training, I would have saved all this and generated more income. Okay. So it really, and then you can see, well, what were the callbacks on? Now you're looking at training opportunities. Oh, 6 of these were TXVs. 10 of these were, reversion valves, and they weren't wrong. Here's the thing. You look at, well, what did they think they did the first time they fixed it? Oh, but it said it was this. So now you have a record of what they misdiagnosed and a record of what's the real problem. It's a tremendous amount of data, right? And if I could get that across to the business owners like right now that are counting the dollars, those are dollars you count. That goes right to the bottom line of the business, you know. So I think that's one message that I would give them is track it, and you'll see investing in quality training is way cheaper than paying for the training that you already are paying for, know it or not, in the field every single day.
That's right. You can pay for them to learn from their mistakes, which just gets more and more expensive as they don't actually get the kind of particulars that they need. Have you seen business owners that were really didn't see what you were talking about, and then suddenly did see the impact of what you're talking about?
Oh,
That shift.
man, yeah. So there was a very, very large There's several, but one big story stands out to me. A large organization that had branches all across a few states, right? And a lot of new construction, but the callback was just atrocious. And
Mr. Callback.
every time I went out, it was horrific duct design. New install, new duct work. The duct work was new material, but the design was just bad, and it was causing trouble. So I said, listen, I told the operations manager over all the regions, I said, if you will just let me come in for 4 hours and bring in everybody you can, we will skeleton crew out in the field, but bring everybody in that smells, touch, looks, and dreams of ductwork and bring them into this class. All right. And I swear your headaches will go away and you'll save a lot of money and you will regain those customers you lost by getting new customers and keeping these new customers. Okay. Not to mention the frustrated employees. So they did, they shut them all down. I had, several positive feedbacks from branches that not all branches followed it, by the way, they would say with their own tactics. All right. But the ones that actually did embrace the training, he said, we have eliminated just about 95% of our callbacks on our installs. And they were able to fix bad installs of other companies now and be the heroes rather than part of the other crews. So it was wonderful to hear. They were so appreciative. And I've heard that over and over as I've just kind of marched this mantra. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm really good with refrigerant diagnostic training, but see, airflow and refrigerant diagnostics go together constantly.
Sure.
So I end up doing both of them together.
I say sure like I know. I have no idea, but I believe you.
But they do. All right. It's kind of like, I don't know. Think about
you're the guy with the shirt.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the guy with the shirt. So, but yeah, so, and I teach electrical, I love electrical too. And I'm very strong on that, reading diagrams and all. But, once again, it gets up and running and they still can't figure out what the heck is going on. It's refrigerant, air, or both.
So. Yeah. So I can see the biggest return on investment because of how unknown the subject of airflow is and how impacting it is. It just, you see that return. And so that example you gave of the company that saw, 80, 90% of their callbacks shift. I mean, those are some awesome issues that are being solved. Not only are you getting more referrals that are customers served well, boosting the kind of the tech's morale, utilizing their time more effectively as they get sent out of more jobs. So the benefits of really investing in your team Yeah, it just makes a lot of sense to me. Run us through what that looks like. So someone can reach out to you, say on LinkedIn, and or through other ways we'll talk about in a second. But what does the process of that training look like if they just want to try it out, or if they want to do something bigger? Run
Oh,
us
yeah,
through that with you so that people have an idea of what they're in for.
absolutely. So, what I love to do first is just do a quick, one-on-one meeting, kind of like what we're doing right now. And let's find out where the pain points are, where the troubles are. And then we can talk about a customized training session. Either we can do a webinar. I've done that for, people in all over the country, webinars, which is good. Not near as effective as in person, but we can do a webinar, or I can come and really do the extensive training, which takes people through not hands-on like that. We build up work in the training, but where we look at duct design, we do the numbers, we do the more of the design aspect of it. And we're not digging like we're not looking at engineering manuals. I got to really stress that. What I did is I took all that. And one of my goals is to take all this complex stuff that I've been blessed to be a part of for 40 years and then bring it down to what I would want as a technician to help me fix the problem, or not create it to begin with. And so I take it and I really make it practical, usable, not just, pie in the sky theory. I
Mm-hmm.
boiled it down to that. And so, we would first customize that, and then we would decide would a webinar work, or would a webinar and then a in-house later. And now I get called to annual conferences to teach these concepts to folks around. And I call it the gospel of heat and air. It's good news. It really is. It's good news that you too can get better at this and underlie
Mm-hmm.
these hidden stuff that's under the rocks. We don't want to think about it. We didn't know it was there. And I will unburden you from the shackles of the sins you committed in airflow design. You didn't
The
even know.
burdens, the what is it? The wages of bad ductwork is
That's right. It's very
is
expensive. I tell
very
you what. So
expensive.
yes, it is. It
But the
is. So
free gift,
yeah.
not free, but the gift of JoJo is good ductwork. No, that.
But you really, if we look as a homeowner on return on investment, I promise you, I can show you on paper the return on investment is
Mhm.
way more than you think. And secondly, too, is I can also help a company develop their own in-house continuous training program where no, they don't have to hire me to be with them every single week, but I can help them set up one that they can do in-house, and I can give you resources that are free, but help you create a structure.
The
And if you get a
framework
structure
structure,
going, yeah, and if it's consistent, it goes way more than just bring me out twice a year or a webinar once every now and then. Consistency
especially
is
if
the
you
key.
find the airflow evangelists within the company.
There you go. There you go. And then now we can propagate inside in-house. Agreed. And I'd love it for them to do that all the time. Exactly right. That's right.
That's right. No, look, I think that's language. I think business owners will really understand, because they're always looking for that return on investment. They want to know, am I going to put in $1 here and am I going to make $1, or is it going to cost me even more money in the long run?
Right. Right. Yeah. Am I going to put in one and get out 10, or put in one and lose 100?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And
Because
because of the bottom,
it's a valid concern, right? Because if you're pulling in every tech from the field, I mean, you think about it,
yep,
they are losing, no, not losing, but like there is
they
an
are,
extra
yeah,
cost there. They're not just paying you. They're
that's right.
actually paying
Absolutely.
for the time of their people. And so, they say, JoJo,
Did it? Yeah.
your
Agreed.
price is this, but this is actually going to cost me. This is going to
Yeah.
cost
Up
me
front.
you
That's right.
times you times
That's
way
right.
more.
But I
And
call it
so,
compounded
yeah,
interest.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then we also can break it up. You get a team of 5, and then we do another team of 5.
The Lord
You
gives
know,
to each according to the works he has done.
there you go. That's right. That's right. That's right.
And in the day of
He's not going to give us
fire,
more than we can bear, and trust me. So
yeah.
yeah, we can go a long way with this one. But yeah, it really is honestly not when you look at, and the return is very quick, very
Mm-hmm.
quick. And as a previous owner of 2 businesses, the stress relief from callbacks on my brain and on my heart and my soul is, I can't put a value on that, and I can sleep better because I'm not worried about, am I going to get a call again from this customer, and we're going to keep just pouring money into this thing and never fix it. All that gets alleviated.
Mm-hmm.
And it usually is the biggest pain in most company side is airflow issues, and it's hidden. It's like blood pressure. It's the silent killer. It's under there, and airflow is like blood pressure, and it's slowly eating and corroding things away. And they don't even know it until something fails, and they're chasing a rabbit that way when the problem's this way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the goal of business owners should be, I mean, there are definitely kind of like controlling business owners, or not in self-aware and non-self-aware ways, where they need to hold on to everything and they really need to understand it all. But if you're wanting to lead a business, leading, like you said, it's actually about guiding a corporate body, not you doing all the work yourself and telling
Oh,
everyone.
yeah.
And so think about it, just the time you save rather in bringing in people. And this is for everything. This is for sales, this is for marketing, this is for technical. Your role is not to be the expert in all of those things.
That's correct. That's correct.
To get the experts to work with you so that you can.
Let me give you a prime example of that. You're absolutely correct. I don't mean to cut you off, but you've got me all excited up here. So my first business, I had to do everything, and everything had to be done right. Now I did hire, a CPA, I did hire bookkeepers, I did hire someone to answer the phone, but I had to be the man on every job and in the field, and after a while, your capacity to grow is completely stunted because you can't do anymore. And then you start making people upset. So I started adding in more tech, started adding in, someone to go out and help me, reach the sales. And are they going to be just like me? No, if they were, they'd have their own businesses. Okay. So they start buying into my philosophy, and I let them be them. They're going to do it differently. As long as we get kind of to the same ending place, and the way you get there, the way I get there may be a little different, but let's just make sure we're all kind of on the same highway, getting there, but everybody's got to be unique. Then, but it was still, it was a lot. I still had a lot, that mentality I learned over time. When I started the second business, I ran the business. It didn't run me. And that was a big difference. Okay. And then I let people be more free. They make mistakes. We learn from our mistakes. We fix our mistakes, and we just grow. Okay. That's how it goes. Now let's fast forward to this. I've had several different businesses in different type of arenas. Let's talk about now. I'm a national trainer. I'm independent. I am me. I do all the training. I don't hire other trainers. Right. But I do have an office administrator. She is a wizard. She's a walking spreadsheet. She keeps everything, all the bookkeeping, all the budgeting, all my calendar stuff going on, organizes my emails, because I don't have time to do that, or else I can't do what I do best, right? And so then I have a marketing agent. I do videos. I give it to her, and she, does her thing. I don't even know how to get. I don't even know how to get to my Instagram account. So she just manages all the social media, and she, throws it out there and does the thumbnails and all that. I'm a high tech guy. I'm a geek. I got computers. I game. I could do all that stuff, but I can't do, just because I have the talent to do it, don't mean I have the time and the resources to do it.
Yeah.
So as a company,
it's actually return on investment again. If you really want the highest return on investment for your time, what do you?
And I got so stressed out. Like you said, I surround myself with people who are good at what they do, and then I can be good at what I want to do. And it works out. To your point, a company owner, well, they mean well. They don't
need
to
be good at leading a business, not good at
if
sales.
You're going to grow. If you don't want to grow, no problem. But if I can't grow unless I start growing my support team behind me, right? And a company can't grow multiples unless he reintroduces himself in all those other areas that he's so good at, and passes on to somebody else. Sorry.
Well, no, that's good. Let's finish on this point then, and then you can give us some ways people can connect with you. What's your word to the business owner that is listening? And they, some business owners they're at a loss. They just been stuck. at some point, and maybe it's a marketing thing, maybe it's a sales thing, maybe it's a technical thing, and they're listening to you and they're kind of just sick of continually trying new things to help them grow a business. It's like, I've tried this marketing agency and I tried this sales trainer and now I got to try like technical train, like, well, so and they're kind of like maybe discouraged by that because it's exhausting,
Oh yeah.
you get the
Yeah.
benefit of having your support team, but you got the burden of building it in the first place.
Yeah.
So what's your simple encouragement to business owners that are sort of in that mindset? They don't know if this is what they need. They don't know what they need, but they know they need something. What do you say to them?
So yeah, if you're in the mindset of a business owner that is wanting to alleviate headaches, want to alleviate, because you're just in the mind, where do I spend my, time and everything. And I'm a business owner too. I am currently a business owner, right? And I look at my customers like you look at your customers. I want to take care of them. Are they just call me when something breaks customer? Are they a service contract customer? That
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. So for what I would tell a company owner is that, I personally know where your pain is. And I think that one of the things that will help you better focus on running the business is getting your technicians to a level to where you don't have to worry about you
You
don't have
actually
to be
trust them.
concerned. You
Mm.
trust them and they're not out there just at a loss, and they're going to please your customer. We do how to talk to a customer on the job. Gosh, I learned how to do as a tech rep. I had to put out so many fires when I ain't on the job. Fixing the equipment was the last thing on my mind. That was the easy part. It was fixing the broken relationships between the customer and the contractor, and of course, the contractor with the distributor manufacturer
Mm-hmm.
who I was representing. So we can fix all that up front, a preemptive plan as opposed to a reactionary plan, and you'll sleep better. And now you can focus on new ideas to expand your business and not worry about your technicians screwing up. And again, you might have beautiful technicians. They're not really screwing up because they want to. They just don't know any better. They don't know any different. And it is a responsibility for us to take care of them. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, to me, if you could think of it that way, then everybody
The
wins.
decision becomes a lot easier. I mean,
Yeah.
it is the core of what you offer. I mean, I talk with lots of business owners, and depending on their service area, um, they can get by without marketing. The warm referrals and stuff work for them,
Yep.
and they're
Yep.
happy with that. They can get by without sales training if they just hire really nice people. That kind of
And
does
depends on the
half the
area they're
job.
in. That works. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you're right, and depending on the area, that works. Whereas what you're talking about, it's like it's actually it is fundamental to what you are a heating and cooling business.
I mean, when
Heating
a
like
customer calls out a
at least 50,
technician, they want a skilled technician. I mean, they expect that. I mean,
50%. Yeah, we
yeah,
love
when I
talking.
go to
You
a
go.
doctor, when I go to a doctor, I don't want to go to a doctor that just got, hired and maybe have a month of training and he'll figure it out on the job with me. I would like for him to be trained before he came to see me. And every technician is the PhD of HVAC, and they represent your company. Not, they aren't going to say, "Don't you call Jerry back out here." They're going to say, "Don't you call, B&B Heat and Air. Don't ever call that company, because that one man will destroy your entire company." Or lift them up and say, "Please call that company. Jerry was awesome, and he works for B&B Heat and Air." There you go.
Yeah, that's it. No, you need to be. That's the core of you guys' offering. And so, in terms of you being worried about a business owner making that investment, getting the return on investment, um, it's probably one of the least risks and the highest returns, especially if you're getting people in that know and have done it before, like Jojo, the HVAC man. So how about you give, I've really loved this conversation. Joe, I think it will really help a lot of guys maybe pinpoint areas in their business that they haven't kind of like thought about before. What are some really, what's the best way for people to connect to you? There'll probably be a link around this video somewhere, but hear it straight from the source.
Sure. So, and let me just say this, I was a very, very small one truck, two truck, with 5 truck company. I have taught with 2 truck companies all the way to corporations and have branches all over the United States. All right. And I can do a localized 1 hour training webinar with a small company and help them out. And then I can also come for the ones. So I can customize whatever you need at your site. So don't be worried that you can't get the training. You can do it. I will work with you. Okay. So the way they can find me is you can Google Jojo the HVAC man. Just be sure you put in Joe, Joe, the HVAC
No,
man.
no,
But also,
Jojo,
yeah, Jojo. That was what they
Jojo,
called me in
Joe,
nuclear,
Joe.
Jojo the HVAC man. So yeah, Joe, the HVAC man. And you can message me through LinkedIn. You can message me through any of my social media. And like I say, my media agent does actually read all the comments because I don't have time, and they will let me know if somebody's reaching out to me. The one that does get to me direct a lot is LinkedIn direct message. And that's how me and Ethan connected here. And so be sure to do that and reach out
It
to me.
works,
And let's just
guys.
have a it does. It does. LinkedIn's awesome. So, check out my social media to see if you like what I do and how I say it. I have fun. All right. We have fun. I enjoy this, and I want that to come across that we can all enjoy this field. I love this field. So, reach me there, message me,
I
and I'll
think
be
you got
glad to reach
especially
out
a
and let's
big
have a
YouTube channel.
conversation.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
YouTube,
Yeah.
lots of videos there. No, that's great. Definitely encourage everyone. Follow up with Jojo. Get the training, not just you need, but it's really gonna kind of boost the morale of your team and technicians and their understanding. And the ripple effects make a lot of sense. And then you can, focus on other parts that you haven't been able to figure out, like the sales or, like some other pieces.
Once I get them propped up and going, unless they filter in new employees, which they do, I might come back, or we train a few guys in house to teach the new guys.
That's awesome.
All
Great stuff.
right.
Great stuff, Joey. Hey, that's been really valuable for everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And yeah, I mean, let me know if you want to hear more from Jojo, if there's like specific questions. And we just hit it off. I've loved this conversation, so I'm sure he'll be glad to come back to evangelize us into
Absolutely.
the airflow gospel. But thank you. And yeah, I'll see everybody else on the next episode. So thanks for watching.